Welcome to Solving Equations with Fractions. In this question, it's very important to have a look and see where you've got fractions and where you don't. So for the 5, it is important to write it over 1, and the 14 to write it over 1. Then we find in LCD the lowest common denominator. So for 4, 1, and 1, the lowest common denominator will be 4. So we need to multiply this 1 by 4. And what we do at the bottom, we do at the top. And we do the same for this one. Multiply by 4, what we do at the bottom, we do at the top. Then what you may do, because you work with an equation, is you may drop the denominator. So you just ignore all the denominators. So you write down what you've got on top. So you've got a 3x plus, and then 5 times 4 is 20. And then you've got your 14 times 4, which is 56. Then you isolate your 3x by subtracting 20 on both sides. So you get 56 minus 20. So therefore you are left with 3x equals, and then 56 minus 20 is 36. To get x alone, we divide by 3. What we do on one side, we do on the other side. The 3's cancel, so you are left with x, and 36 divided by 3 is 12. In this question, we've got denominators 5, 35, and 7. So my lowest common denominator will be 35. So 5 times 7 will give me 35. So what I multiply at the bottom, I multiply at the top. Then 35 times 1 and multiply the top by 1. For this one, I need to multiply by 5. It's very important to put a bracket there. And then we're going to multiply by 5. I find it easier to put the 5 at the top. Now remember, we're working with an equation, so you may ignore the denominators. So we're going to multiply the top out. So x times 7 is 7x. Then don't forget you've got a negative. 3 times 1 is 3. Equals, and we're going to take the 5 and we're going to multiply it by x plus 1. So we have 7x minus 3, I'm going to distribute the 5 into the bracket. So 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 1 is positive 5. I've got my 7x over here. I want to get rid of 5x, so I subtract 5x. Then I've got my 5 over here. So I want to get rid of the negative 3, so I add 3. Then 7x minus 5x is 2x. And 5 plus 3 is 8. To isolate x, I need to divide by 2. What I do on one side, I do on the other side. So therefore the 2's can cancel. So x equals 8 divided by 2 is 4. The next question is quite a tricky question. So there are quite a lot of things that you need to pay attention to. So step number 1, look at all your denominators. There's a 4. 2, 3, and then for this one you need to put it over 1. So then we get the LCD, lowest common denominator, and that would be 12, as 12 will be the number that all of them can go into. So then I put a bracket around the top because it consists of more than one term in my numerator, and I say 4 times what gives me 12, and that will be 3. So what I multiply at the bottom, I need to multiply at the top. 2 times 6 gives me 12. So I need to multiply by 6 at the top as well. And then 3 times 4. And multiply by 4. And then don't forget about the last one, times 12. And times 12. Then you may ignore the denominators because you are solving equations. So I'm going to write the top down. So it's 3 times 3x minus 4, then minus 6 times x plus 2 equals 4 times 4x minus 1, and then you'd have minus 6 times 12, and that you can work out so long is 72. Then I'm going to get rid of the brackets by distributing the numbers in front into the brackets. So 3 times 3x is 9x. And 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Then negative 6 times x is negative 6x. and then negative 6 times 2 is negative 12, equals 4 times 4x is 16x. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4 minus 72. Now I prefer to neaten it up a little bit first. So I'm going to go and add like terms. 9x minus 6x is 3x. And minus 12 is negative 24. And then I'm going to write my 16x, and then minus 4 minus 72 gives me negative 76. Then over here, I have a look and I see I've got a 3x over here and I've got a 16x over here. So I'm going to keep my 16x on this side as it's positive there already. And I'm going to say I want to get rid of the 3x on this side. So I'm going to subtract 3x. Then I've got a minus 24 already on the left. So I want to get rid of this minus 76. So I'm going to add 76. So on the left, you've got minus 24. Plus 76, and that gives you 52. And then on the right hand side, you've got 16 minus 3, and that gives you 13x. Then to get x alone, I'm going to divide by both sides by 13. So 52 divided by 13 gives me 4. And then on the right hand side, 13 and 13 can cancel, so therefore I just get x. And here's one for you to try. So start by looking at the denominators. So here's no denominator, put it over 1, then a 3, and a 4. So we get our LCD. So that will give us 12. Then we put brackets around the denominator, the numerators that consist of more than one term. And then we say, right, 2 times 6 gives me 12. Don't forget about this one, times 12. Then times 4. And then times 3. Ignore the denominators. And I would suggest that you write this step that I'm writing right now so that you don't make mistakes. And then 2 times 12 is 24. And then get rid of the brackets by distributing into the brackets. In other words, 6 times x is 6x. 6 times positive 1 is 6. Minus 24. Equals 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 2 is 8. Then 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times 3 is positive 9. Neaten it up a little bit. So we get 6x, and then if we say 6 minus 24, we get negative 18. On this side, like terms, we have 4x plus 3x, and that is 7x. And then 8 plus 9 is positive 17. I've got a positive 7x and a 6x. So the 7x is the bigger one, so I'm going to say keep it on this side and get rid of the 6x on this side by subtracting 6x. And then I've got a minus 18, so I'm going to get rid of the positive 17 by subtracting 17. So then minus 18 minus 17 is negative 35. And 7x minus 6x is 1x, or you can just write x. And then just one last one, and I want to concentrate on this mixed fraction over here. So before you do anything, sort that out first. So we're going to write 5x over 2, and then please remember, you go 7 times 2 is 14, plus the 1 on top, so that gives you 15 over 2. Equals, and you have your 4x over 3 plus, if you want, you can multiply the top out. I would just keep it for now. Right, in the next step, it's a normal sum, so we look at the denominators and we get the lowest common denominator. So we've got 2, 3, and 6, and the lowest common denominator is 6. So I need to multiply by 3. What I do at the bottom, I do at the top. Multiply by 3, multiply by 3. Multiply by 2, multiply by 2. And then over here you can just multiply by 1. So then you can ignore the denominators. So 5x times 3x is 15x. Minus 15 times 3 is 45. And then 4x times 2 is 8x. And if you multiply by 1, it just remains 5 times x plus 2. So I'm just going to keep the left. 15x minus 45 equals 8x. I'm going to distribute the 5 in, so 5 times x is 5x. And 5 times 2 is 10. I'm going to neaten it up a little bit, so we get 15x minus 45 equals 8x plus 5x is 13x plus 10. So I'm going to keep the 15x on this side. I don't want the 13x here, so I'm going to subtract 13x. I've got a 10. I want to get rid of minus 45, so I'm going to add 45. And then I get 15x minus 13x is 2x. And 10 plus 45 is 55. I want to get rid of the 2, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So x equals 55 over 2.